Hello, 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 and welcome to Wrestling with Entertainment, bringing you the exclusive breaking news, breaking the rumor and innuendos, previewing and reviewing the latest shows from WWE, AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor, uh, every Saturday on YouTube and Castbox. As always, with me, Kaliko Yachts.
Back on the scene, crispy and clean. What's going on in the world?
And Scooter Dust.
Yo, what up, my friends?
Ninjas. My ninjas.
We're coming for you, ninja.
Yeah. I hate that guy. And we are Mitch Mayhem-less this week, but it's okay because it's a great day for wrestling. Kaliko, you were not on the show last week. You hit that Halloween candy too hard, I suppose.
Yeah, man. I'd never seen a three-year-old like hit a lick like that. I mean, it looked like he was robbing houses the way his damn candy was full. And I jumped in on it, and what happened? He was running sick. He pulled the Michael Jordan flu game of Halloween. Like he literally did his damn thing. Unfortunately, he got everybody else sick.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But we're back.
Yeah, too much fun gets you there.
Yeah, it will.
And we have a full show tonight. We will be revealing the winner of our Survivor Series watch-along poll. We'll also be covering the Wednesday Night Wars, Week 6. Maybe some NWA. They're doing some good stuff. But we'll be wrestling with New Japan Power Struggle first. All in all, considering this is the last major show before Wrestle Kingdom, big implications on this show, right, Kaliko?
Pretty much. They basically use this to set up how Wrestle Kingdom's gonna go down. How the show's gonna go down in January, and it's one of those things where WWE used to do, where like they would have the one last pay-per-view to set everything up, and then spend the next month and a half building the story to it. But I think the demand for monthly pay-per-views were too strong for them, and I think it dilutes their storytelling heading to WrestleMania. But it's refreshing to see New Japan go that route, and we got some big comebacks. We got some big implications announced, and Wrestle Kingdom is looking to be one for the ages. And it's the one pay-per-view that I notice it gets better every year. Or at least the more I watch it. Like, it seems to get better and better every year they hold it, and that's a big deal considering that they lost a lot of big names that they invested in.
Right. And definitely this year is going to be more interesting because there's no Kenny Omega, no Young Bucks, which are obviously their two main attractions. But let's get into the actual paid preview. Naito beat Taichi. Nobody really expected there to be any doubt there.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So, and Roppongi 3K won the Super Junior Tag League Finals by defeating El Desperado and Katamaru, 14 minutes and 13 seconds.
I mean, what you expected. They've been running this. They're pretty much going to be the face of the damn Super Juniors now. And it was good that they got with the Bucks and got that credibility. So now it seems more believable that they're ready to take that lead.
I'm just thinking that they're going to get it's time for that breakup between them. Because they've pretty much conquered the tag team division at this point.
Unless they move up. I mean, that's the only thing you can think of.
True. Alright,
So that
Tomohiro Ishii lost to Kenta in 20 minutes and 12 seconds for the Never Openweight Championship. Kenta won with a go to sleep.
that made sense because Kenta, as we said when he first won the title, it's basically meant for him versus Shibata at Wrestle Kingdom. So they're going with that storyline, which made perfect sense and was executed perfectly. And it's funny, Kenta joined the Bullet Club. Biggest thing, if not for AEW popping up. Funny how timing works.
I was kind of a little disappointed that there wasn't, obviously later in the night, they had that altercation, but I kind of thought that Kenta and Shibata was going to have that altercation at during his match.
Yeah, probably during the match, but they don't want it to be like where it would cost them the match. You know what I mean?
Right. And Scooter being a former wrestler yourself, what do you think about Shibata trying to get back in the ring?
It's always a difficult thing when you're a former wrestler. You've been out of the ring for too long. There's a point where too long means stay out. I'm not sure if that is necessarily the case with Shibata. I mean, whether or not they see anything for him beyond, a one-off match with Kenta remains to be seen. I mean, if he can still go, more power to him.
So do you think this is more of a one-off where he could say, I had one last match on my terms? Or do you think this is more of, let me test the waters if I could maybe possibly do this again?
I think it's both, actually. If he's gonna be able to go on this match on his terms, then I don't see a reason why he would stay out, unless he really feels his time has passed.
Well, he's still in pretty good shape, and I don't think he's that old. So I don't think another run would be out of the question for him.
I mean, that's you. When it comes to Japanese wrestlers, having lengthy careers, they're like, George Foreman winning the heavyweight title in his late 40s.
Well, I mean, Suzuki is 51, and he could still beat up anybody on that roster. Legit.
That is true as well. I mean, I guess we just have to see how Wrestle Kingdom goes between him and Kenta.
All I'm saying is avoid the headbutts. Alright, next match, Bushi challenged Will Ospreay for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship and lost in 16 minutes and 20 seconds. Ospreay won with the Stormbreaker. And that is not the story here. The story is that Hiromu Takahashi time bomb after a year and a half away has returned to New Japan.
Probably the most emotional moment of the night. I mean, like, if you could take the last couple of years for New Japan as far as like emotional, where like it's trending like that, like on a global scale, it would be Shibata coming back, Takahashi coming back, and then the Kenny and Ibushi hug. Like, those are like three timeless, like, emotional moments. And for a guy like him, it was just great for him to come back at all, because you got to think about it. He had a fucked up neck, finished the match.
Yeah.
that's the killer part. Like, he finished the fucking match with a broken neck, goes to the backs, collapses, and everything goes to shit from there.
And I
And
mean,
I'm
we're
just
not
glad.
talking about a Hamaneko John Cena match. Hiromu Takahashi has those hard hitting, strong style matches that we all hear about.
Oh yeah, and he flies too. So that was the crazy part. Cause
Right.
like, he's fucking flying around doing fucking front flips and jumping off the top rope, flipping off, and all this shit with a broken neck. Could have got worse. And yet he still finished that fucking match. So I mean, that's props to him. And I'm just glad that he's just not just on a wrestling front, just from a human being standpoint, because like, we've seen like cats get their necks fucked up, and it could have got worse. So just to see him back in the ring is a great thing. But just to see him walking
Exactly.
says a lot. So
You're absolutely right about that. And he was during his return, he was throwing himself into the barricade and into the turnbuckles, was just to prove, like, I'm not hurt. I don't need to change my style. I'm still Time Bomb.
he purposely did a neck bridge.
Right.
That was the thing that got me when he did the neck bridge. I think that was like his thing when he did the interview, literally in a neck bridge, to show like, hey, the neck is strong. And I'm glad that they gave him the time off to make sure that he's exactly at 100%, because it's easy. It's easy to like get caught up in like, oh my god, we need these names because we lost all these names and we got to get you back as soon as possible. So
Right.
I'm just glad that they did his health first.
And as much as I'm ready for the in-ring return of Hiromu Takahashi, and he's still gonna have another 2 months of recovery time until he gets to that January 4th match. I am salivating at the thought of a 6-person Lij match with all the members in it.
Oh yeah, I can't. I'm just glad he's back, and he was like, I mean, you could make the argument he was like the number 2 in Lij at the time.
True.
I can kind of say it's maybe Sonata, but
Well, he was number one
when
in
Hiromu
his
was,
division.
yeah, he was number 1 in his division, but he was number 2 in the group. He was like the right hand man. Like, there was Naito, and then Takahashi, and then Sonata, and then he left. Sonata kind of bumped up. So I think Takahashi comes back. He assumes his role as Naito's right hand man, and him and Daryl are back together. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I had to get Daryl retirement to help him out with his match and his training.
Yeah, we need more Daryls in our lives, man.
I need that red cat. I need to purchase that. Alright, next match, Hiroki Goto lost to Jay White in 27 minutes and 40 seconds with a Blade Runner. Jay White retains the Intercontinental Championship.
Mm-hmm.
The thing of it is, that's not the main story. The main story, he'll be wrestling Naito at Wrestle Kingdom. And whoever wins that match in the Okada Coda goes to the next night, Wrestle Kingdom Part 2, I guess, and will fight to unify the championship. Not unify, but be double champion.
Yeah, they'll be double champ. Yeah. Which,
yeah.
big deal. Big fucking deal.
What I'm trying to understand is, I love New Japan. They're on the rise. They're a great company, but they're splitting the biggest paid preview into 2 parts when they can't fill the Tokyo Dome. once a year, let alone twice in a row. So goes to both Scooter and Kaliko. Do you think that's a wise decision?
I'll let Scooter go first.
I mean, this is it's a bit of a tricky situation because you're taking New Japan's biggest show, their WrestleMania, so to speak, and splitting it up into a 2-night event. The allure behind Wrestle Kingdom was that it was one of the few events, if not the only event of the New Japan calendar, that was only one night. And so it had that mystique, that specialness about it. Taking it and turning it into 2 nights essentially makes it no different than any other New Japan show. And that, I think, shows New Japan's a faltering ability in trying to keep up with professional wrestling on a global scale. It's almost as if they're caving in to the pressure from from the companies on the other side of the on the other side of the planet. Like Kaliko said, with the monthly pay-per-views and everything,
Right.
and now they feel the need that now maybe they're seeing it as, oh, we're gonna outdo ourselves and make it 2 nights. They could be doing that.
But
I mean,
yeah.
I also think maybe they may have booked themselves into a corner story-wise, and are trying to wrap everything up but when Wrestle Kingdom ends, so they can focus on the new and upcoming year.
That's true. But again, I don't find it a wise decision to go 2 nights in the dome when you can fill up the dome that one time. Like, yeah, they've been getting more and more fans every year, but doesn't that kind of spread it out to where they're not going to get that many people on that first night? Because some people are going to try and maybe just go to the second night.
I mean, it's it's tricky because it's one of those things where like Wrestle Kingdom is usually good, but the one thing that they're always lacking in is like the next night they have something that happens that completely like takes the attention of what away from what happened at Wrestle Kingdom. Like prime example, like when AJ Styles got kicked out the Bullet Club, when Devin got kicked out, like when like they were kicking people out clubs and all that usually happens. Like their usual fallout stuff happens the next night.
Yeah,
I can see them doing that just to try to keep the people, because like it's almost like the night after WrestleMania is where most people kind of tend to stay for. Like Wrestle Kingdom itself, yeah, they go to the show, but like the night after is what kind of like
hey,
gets
to
people.
Kaliko's son.
And to me, I think they're going, hey, buddy. And the one thing I think that they're trying to do is make it into a weekend thing. Like how like WrestleMania does like WrestleMania week. It's a risky thing. But if you're gonna have people flying literally from Japan to go there, why not make it a weekend for them? Especially if they're spending a lot of money to go.
That's right. And that got me thinking a little bit about that. Do you think it would be maybe a wise decision on maybe WWE's part to do a 2-night WrestleMania event? It would definitely split up the paid preview into the 8 hours it already is.
No, because they reduced WrestleMania significantly. In the past 2 years, and the idea was that WrestleMania followed by Raw and SmackDown, which will now be SmackDown Takeover WrestleMania and then Raw. Raw will now be the ending to that WrestleMania weekend. Like Kalisto basically drove my point home to a degree that if we're going to do a 2-night thing, do it on a weekend.
Tell them that there's tickets for
Just like, but WrestleMania doesn't benefit at all from becoming a 2-night show.
It doesn't because the one thing that WrestleMania does is they do all the little stuff that New Japan don't do, like the Hall of Fame and all that other stuff. And to me, it was smart for them anyway by moving SmackDown on Friday because everyone knew that the de facto end of WrestleMania was the night after WrestleMania anyway. So that was smart on their part, just on that part. New Japan, it's going to be iffy because we just trying to figure out, hey, 2 nights, the 4th and 5th. We'll see how it goes. Maybe it's just an experiment, and maybe they're just doing that for now because they want to keep people built on the suspense of something that is really, really big for their company. So I wouldn't blame them for it.
And we will be covering Wrestle Kingdom Part Day 1, 2, and New Year's Dash in January when we get to it. As of right now, we will wrap up our coverage of New Japan Power Struggle, and we will wrestle with the Wednesday Night Wars Week 6. So, another week of head-to-head fighting. Kaliko, how did you watch this week?
I did NXT first because especially after SmackDown had this crazy follow through with the NXT thing and the announcement that NXT is going to be included in the Survivor Series match, it made me more intrigued.
And what about you, Scooter?
Yes, SmackDown had me super intrigued. However, I thought Raw was a huge letdown compared to that. However, you got to remember that Saturday, tonight, I forget what day it is.
It's Saturday, damn it. Kayfabe.
Full Gear is on the radar, and I felt it only appropriate to watch AEW because it was the go-home show, and I think specifically AEW had the better show, and I can certainly explain why when we come to it.
Well, I honestly agree with you, Scooter, this week. I kind of felt like NXT, they're trying to play off of that war that they're having between all three brands. And in all honesty, NXT kind of felt like AEW feels. Where every match went way too long. At the end of the day, I kind of didn't care about the matches that happened, and except for the last match, with AJ Styles and Gallows and Anderson, and then that was a big letdown because nothing came of it. And I kind of felt, I watched AEW right afterwards, so I was kind of on that low point with the show, kind of not giving AEW that chance, that moment. But they actually had a pretty decent show compared to NXT, which I didn't think was as good. What about you, Kaliko?
To me, AEW had a good show, but to me, the ending was kind of confusing. And we'll get to it.
I will agree with that. Yeah.
Like the ending of the show was hella confusing in a sense where like there was the NXT thing. I get what they're trying to like. They're trying to slowly build it up. Like they don't want it all to pop off now because hell, Survivor Series is their big four, so everything always happens at these big four pay-per-views. So I gave them the benefit of the doubt of that.
Well, let's go into
both had good shows, but both also had like crappy ratings, which is not good.
let's go into NXT first. We usually start with AEW. Let's change it up. The show started with DOC coming out. And before they went on the air, they attacked the Undisputed Era.
You like it?
They talked about being in Full Sail and taking over and all that good stuff. Then they got interrupted by Ciampa, Matt Riddle, and Keith Lee. And I think Full Sail University is pretty much the only place AJ Styles and the OC is going to get booed at this point.
Well, get booed because they're actually booing what the hell they're doing, and they're not NXT guys. So it makes sense.
Because in reality, it kind of feels like it's a different company, even though that they are the same brand. Honestly,
Kind of like that Jack in the Box of wrestling.
Right.
WWE is the Jack in the Box of wrestling.
you could have American, Mexican, and Chinese all in the same meal at Jack in the Box.
Pretty much, get a burger meal, 2 tacos, and a rice bowl, all at the same time.
It's not like I haven't done it before.
I know, but hey, I get it. I get what they're trying to go. I get where they're trying to get through, but it's just all about execution at this point. Building. They're just trying to actually build on the story.
Right. Pete Dunne defeated Damian Priest in the first match. This match felt like it could have gone the full 2 hours. It went way too long, in my opinion.
And then you stay over.
I mean, I get what they were trying to do. It was long. I think it was just more of a Pete Dunne had to pull out all the stops to beat the guy just so they could have the rubber match at TakeOver.
Right.
So I get where they were going with it, but I mean, they could have did that with a simple roll off and say, "Hey, it was a fluke. Run it back."
They didn't need 2 commercial breaks to explain that.
That is true.
Next match, Tainara Conti defeated Santana Garrett. Is this Tainara Conti's first win ever on NXT?
Yes, I believe it is.
I mean, it would be her first win because she didn't win in the Mae Young. Yeah, it's their first win. They need to rebuild that damn women's division. So makes sense.
Scooter, before I forget, the 2 guys on Monday Night Raw that got beat up by the Viking Raiders.
The Beaver Boys, my boys Alex Reynolds and John Silver.
The Polo Boys?
Oh, you said the Polo Boys. They were. Oh, I had their name. I said their names on the remix, and I gotta look at the I knew.
Hold on.
I had their names. Hold on, let me pull up the roster.
But you do indeed know them.
Yes.
Yes. something when I watched that match, I was like, Scooter knows these people. He has that exact outfit at home. he went out with those guys in that outfit.
They were, from what I read, Christian Nunez and Johnny Levante.
And can you confirm or deny that you have that polo outfit?
I do not have that polo outfit. I might have been born on Long Island in the same hospital as Chris Jericho, but I grew up in New York City, bitch.
So that makes you exempt from ever wearing a polo?
Damn right. I ain't got no polo. The only thing polo I have is my polo pony. Thank you.
Well, there you go. NXT Women's champion Shayna Baszler defeated Dakota Kai. Another really long match, but I'm a big Dakota Kai fan. I'm a big Shayna Baszler fan, so I was invested into this match.
Yeah, plus it was a whole that was a storyline of Shayna Baszler basically been bullying her all her life. I think they made a mistake of not putting her in the War Games, but because I thought they were going to book it.
Well, I can tell you this, that you might get your wish after all.
Oh, I hope so.
Because from what happened, it looks very well like we could be seeing a heel Dakota.
Well, shoot, I was thinking they were going to go Dakota finally beating the bully, who's been basically her whole career upside down. Like, that would have been a better story.
Well, what they did on NXT, it makes it seem.
Yeah, it makes it look like, yeah. But I get your point. It looks like the latter, but I thought it was going to be the former.
They could, if they could switch it, they could put Mia Yim on Shayna's team. That could be the heel turn.
I mean, but she's already established on being on Rhea's team.
Yeah, and they're looking at Dakota. I guess the Dakota thing is if you can't beat them, join them type deal. But, that just kind of like, just like, yeah.
And I mean, we could still get Dakota Kai in War Games. Tegan Knox, her legs get easily injured, so,
Isn't Tegan Knox is in it, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they're gonna go with it. I already see now I see your point.
Yeah.
Like, I came back before this bitch, and this bitch got picked before me. It's like the last girl to get picked on the basketball team, or the last person to get picked on the team, and you make the other team pay. Go be some shit like that.
Next match, Angel Garza defeated Scooter Dust's biological twin, Tony Nese.
Oh, Lord. Tony Nese. How far have they dropped my boy?
Bam. He should have never dropped his in-ring name. And he should have stayed as Maverick.
It's because he didn't use that PowerPoint presentation.
That's right. VSA with the PowerPoint team.
Y'all live and die by that.
You live by the PowerPoint, you die by the PowerPoint.
And I need to clear my throat before I do this. Dominic Dijakovic defeated Isaiah Swerve Scott. The first match Dijakovic had that wasn't against Keith Lee at this point. And
yeah, I mean, next match.
The OC, AJ Styles, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows defeated Tommaso. Actually, no, they didn't beat them, but they wrestled Tommaso Ciampa, Keith Lee, and Matt Riddle, and ended in complete and utter confusion. Technically, the match is still going on.
Is that no contest? That's a no contest type deal,
Hey, right there, see if it's in your thing.
which I don't like either. Like all this confusing endings is just like not good. I get what they're trying to do to keep people intrigued into the next show, but it doesn't help the audience.
And what about that run-in from Finn Balor? That was pretty too sweet.
That's the callback right there.
Yeah.
That's because you remember they always been teasing. They're teasing on the thing that everyone's been trying to tease for like 6 years since AJ Styles got in the bitch. So like ain't nothing new.
And another ironic twist of it all is that Adam Cole was actually a member of Bullet Club as well.
Yeah, that's the funny part. But although he wasn't like, he was more like Bullet Club East
Right.
or Bullet Club West or whatever the fuck they used to call it.
He got killed off on being the elite. He's a member of the Bullet Club. End of story.
But
Oh no, he's a member. But it wasn't like when he went to Ring of Honor. It wasn't like they were like, "Hey, what up, Adam?" They were like, "Hey, Adam."
But technically, Scooter, Bullet Club is for life, and he died, but he's still technically a member of Bullet Club.
There you go.
All right, and let's talk about AEW next. We start the show off with Pac defeating Trent. I'm not gonna lie, guys. My favorite moment of this match was Orange Cassidy coming in and trying to take out Pac.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're building Pac as this big boy heel.
He's not big
I
boy
feel like-
heel. He's a bastard. Let's get that straight.
Hey, little man heel, big boy heel, you know what I meant. But he should be the number one contender for this damn title. That's what he should be.
And I really hope that plays into the paid preview Full Gear actually tonight. We'll see
Yeah,
where
let's
that
hope
goes.
so. See.
What are your thoughts on the match and Orange Cassidy running, Scooter?
I thought it was a great match. I love seeing Orange Cassidy deliver those massive shots. Who would have ever thought that not giving a crap would be a huge gimmick that gets over?
I know. The Beverly
you know,
Hills 1.0 extra.
I hated this guy, but to see how much the crowd loves him and how much they eat his shit up, and it's so uninspiring, and yet it's entertaining. As long as they stick to what he's doing right now, and not have like a 60-minute arm match with Kenny Omega, I think I'll be fine with Orange Cassidy.
We'll see. It's just 6 weeks in. Let's wait till it's like 8 months in, and because everybody was like that about Kofi too, and then they won the belt, and they're like, "Get the fuck away, Kofi!" So,
But wait a minute. You think Orange Cassidy is going to be our next AEW World Heavyweight Champion?
no, I'm just saying like everybody was hot for him, and then like us wrestling fans, we're fickle as hell.
Oh,
We like to see people make it. We like to see people make it. As soon as they make it, it's like next person get the belt. Like we don't want people to enjoy the reign. We just want them to get the reign and get the hell on. Like one thing I noticed is us as wrestling fans.
Oh yeah.
Unhealthy relationship we have.
All right, next segment, Cody's career announcement. One of the most interesting promos in recent years.
You can make an argument.
I said it on Wednesday. This was Cody's Hard Times promo.
Yeah. It was a really good promo leading into their match on Saturday, today, actually. Hey, it kind of tells you where Cody's headspace is, and my as great of a promo was, I just found it hilarious that he said that you could find Chris Jericho's book on Amazon for $3.
What was funny was like what I liked was when he was like, you would have thought he had hard times knowing that he's the son of a famous hockey player. Like we didn't come from the same silver spoon, you dick. And
Yeah,
I think that's what hit home. Like the fact that like don't try to push this. You came hard when you had an easy life just like I did, and tried to get up out of somebody's shadow type shit. And it works. I mean, it worked. If there's one thing Cody's good at is like channeling emotions and telling a story in a match. I could say he's probably their best storyteller as far as like in the ring. So we know to have a story element. I don't know what's going to happen with him basically saying he's not going for the title if he loses. So that leads us to think, okay, either you win or you not really going to wrestle that much. So it's one or the other. One of these things will sound like the other.
yeah, and that kind of spoiled it. That was the spoiler for me in the promo. My biggest issue was, Cody. He's obviously the vice president of the company. No shocker there. No, not a spoiler. Um, but either that's confirming that he's gonna win tonight, that he's going to beat Chris Jericho and become the second champion, or it confirms that AEW a little bit full of shit because Cody is not going to have another opportunity at the belt somewhere down the line.
So I would think that he would have to win. But the problem is, if he wins, that kind of makes the inner circle obsolete.
Not to
I mean, the whole.
But he did allude to a match beyond, and the rumor has it for the next AEW pay-per-view that there will be an Inner Circle versus the Elite 5-on-5, some sort of variation on War Games.
Oh, okay, like yeah. I mean, pretty much War Games.
Well, they can't use the term War Games, so.
Yeah, that's true. What they're gonna call it?
They could call it a match. They could call it the match beyond.
Hunter Horse Helm.
Peace Treaty. War Games Peace Treaty.
That could be. I mean, Battleship. I don't know.
Oh, good God! I don't know what's worse, that or Full Gear.
Well, I mean, Tony Khan don't seem to have a problem with these terrible names, so it could actually happen. We're joking, but this
I would think they would call it like Aces Wild or something.
Yeah. I know. I thought they would have kept going like Jack of Spades,
like Jackpot or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Royal AEW presents Royal Flush. Like that's what I thought. I thought they were gonna go
AEW presents the Bellagio at the Bellagio.
See, there you go. Caesar's Palace or something like that. I don't know. It's shit.
The seizure at Caesar's.
Just stay in Las Vegas. Just be.
Wait a minute. Caesar's Palace or Little Caesar's Pizza? There's two different Caesars.
It's sponsored by Little Caesars and Caesar's Palace. There you go.
There it is. There it is. Hey man, if they could get Rick and Morty on the bench, they could come up with a better name.
It's not like they haven't done it before. But
Let's see.
okay, back on the road that we're supposed to travel. If Jericho does actually indeed lose this belt, the only he's only held it for like what 3 months, and the only win he has under his belt is Darby Allin. Might
I
as well
mean,
had a match with Marco Stunt to complete that triangle.
I mean, he is the youngest AEW champion in history.
That's
Yeah,
right.
of course. But it's only a 3 month reign, honestly.
He's also
He's
the
the long-
only champion there's ever
he's-
been.
He's the longest reigning AEW. He's the youngest and the longest reigning champion. Give him some props, damn it.
He is every champion. Let's say that. Alright, next thing on the card, Private Party defeated Dark Order. This was a excellent tag team match in my opinion.
I always said from the get go, AEW has their advantages is the tag team because they kind of actually let the team shine instead of trying to tell the story and show how each tag team is unique. Vice, WWE, unfortunately, they'll have good tag teams, but they also have to like put two single stars together and make tag teams, which is not really a tag team. It's basically an all-star team, but I give AEW props for that.
The only thing that I hated about the match was that they were competing for bronze medals
Yeah.
and an opportunity at the tag team championships. Like, why compete? Why not just say you're going to get a title opportunity at Full Gear, and not say, hey, you lost this tournament, you're a loser. Here's this bronze medal.
Because it's almost like they had best friends win a match and have to buy and say bye. I think that sounds very familiar. but that's the one thing I hate about AEW is like by them being a weekly show, I kind of feel like their storytelling is very distorted in a sense. Other than like the main guys who are like veterans, but they got a lot of these young guys that and they gotta kind of keep focus on something to keep the storylines going, and that's my only issue with them, in a sense. I could be wrong.
The next segment on the show, Chris Jericho had a promo video package eerily similar to the one Cody did a couple weeks prior.
Over or under, those two video packages will be shown 6 times every hour on the hour of the day of the pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, but this honestly, to see where Jericho is at the match and where Cody is, I found not just to mention that this was hilarious, was that he completely shit on everything Cody did in his video package.
I mean, in a sense. Yeah. But I guess he's also like the guy, because one thing I will say, Jericho, every time all of his videos have basically been highlighted on while you mofos are too busy trying to be like with the execs and in the limelight and blah, 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 I'm the guy who's out here actually training, getting ready to kick y'all ass. And I give him props for that, because he's almost like he's not worried about the political television bullshit, and he's just one to actually wrestle. It's almost,
Right. All right, next match. Sakura and Jamie Hayter defeated Shayna Shanna and Riho. And this is Riho's first fucking loss in the whole fucking company. But I suppose she had to have one just so she could have a match on the paid preview.
Yep.
Yep.
Next.
But seriously, she has a better track record than the Bastard Pack. And she has more wins than Chris Jericho, who's the champion, the Le Champion. Next thing, Brandy Rhodes did a hype video. She turned emo, apparently. And then we have Shawn Spears defeated Brian Cutler. This, I was actually really proud of AEW. They had their very first. What's your favorite fruit, Kaliko?
Squash, but I feel like that this squash was like 5 months too late because I feel like no, and then I say that seriously because I think if he had to beat Cody, his trajectory would have been totally different. You know what I mean? I that's just my thought process on that. Like you go through all this work of putting him with like a legend like Tully Blanchard, having him get introduced, having him have a sit down interview with JR, just to have him lose those matches. And now he's trying to get back on that track. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and job to Moxley as well.
Right. Like job to Moxley, job to Cody. And you know what's funny? If they were really going to do the inner circle thing, it would have made more sense for Spears to join because he actually had to beef with Cody.
Yeah.
Than a random ragtag. You know what I mean?
It kind of feels like Shawn Spears is in the same position he was in at WWE at this point, where he's just lower mid card.
I mean, he's basically
pretty much.
He's basically La Parka at this point.
An American La Parka.
Yes.
The chairman.
Yeah.
He is the chairman. But there's only one La Parka. I got it.
All right, he's L.A. Park.
Can we get rid of the park and just say LA?
No, because then Joseph Park will be upset.
Oh, damn it.
Damn.
Yeah.
I tried, James. I tried.
Yeah, don't want to get sued by Park, and Park.
Ah, I know that law firm.
That is true.
Yeah, it's the law firm I use when I need royal advice.
Consultations.
Yep. Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara defeated Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. I find it hilarious that JR cannot pronounce Guevara's last name and just call him Sammy G at this point.
Kind of like Shorty G.
Yeah. JR might have to be careful with that. But all things considering, the mess that happened afterward, that battle royal that to kill everybody with barbed wire baseball bats and brooms afterwards, this match would have served its purpose if it was a DQ finish. Don't you guys agree?
Yeah, because but my thing is this: they had like a lot of there's a lot of distractions into it at the end, and that's the one thing that gets me. It's like they like the story, like they're getting in on the brawl at the end, and I saw what they were trying to do, like brawl it off the air type deal.
Right.
But it was too many moving parts, and it's just like I get why Moxley would come in to beat up on a guy like that. I could see it, but what does that got to do with what's going on right now? You see what I'm saying? It's like he always comes at the inopportune time. Like the most inopportune time.
He's like the period of AEW.
And he's having that lights out match with Kenny Omega. You know that he's gonna have Renee Young's medical insurance to pay for that match.
True. And don't it get me started with broomstick shit? Like, that was confusing.
Huh?
That was hella confusing. Because why would they bring, like, my thing is, why would he come into the ring with a bat and barbed wire and don't fucking use it?
Well, all we need is some bed knobs, and we're one move away from a Disney musical.
You know what I mean? Like, at least, like, what I thought, and I heard this earlier, what they probably should have done was have the bat and whatever they want to do under the ring, right? They brawl it out. They get to the point where, okay, fuck it, I want to hit you with this thing. So they go underneath the ring. They grab their stuff. Then they have their show off. They try to swing at each other. The barbed wire is going to get stuck. So they're fighting over trying to get position and then let them brawl it out that way. I think that would have been a better look to it, but it all the while trying to keep both dudes strong for the end. But I mean, I digress. What do I know?
Well, going back to the match, this is the 6th episode of AEW, the 6th edition. There has not been a disqualification, and there has not been a count out in all 6 weeks.
Has there been a time limit draw?
There's been one time limit draw.
Yeah, that was like Kobe and Darby, right?
No, that was the Bastard and Moxley.
So was Kobe. Yeah, so was Cody and Darby.
No, but we're talking about Dynamite.
Oh, it don't matter. Well, right now we're going with history and precedent. And there's only 2 of them hoes. Like, only 2 of them bitches. They count. The bitches count.
All right.
They count.
All right. So if we're counting Double or Nothing, Fight for the Fallen, Fight or Fest as All Out, there's only been 2 time limit draws, no disqualification, and no countouts. The whole duration of the company's history.
I mean, they might as well just call it blood sport at this point. Like, it's practically a fight. It's like club except wrestling edition. It's like anything goes. Like, no one.
It's hilarious that WWE abuses those two stipulations, and AEW doesn't use them enough. So there's never a happy medium.
Unless you go to Power, they use them hoes. Power uses them hoes regularly. Shit.
That can. We will talk about Full Gear extensively next week. Obviously, as we record it, the show is on air. So we do not know who wins yet. And we will wrap up our coverage of AEW. How do we say it, Scooter?
AEW.
Thank you. And we will be wrestling with NWA Powerrr.
I actually watched it for the first time.
Oh, what?
I actually watched it for the first time.
Hey, what did you think?
I like the feel of it. You know, that old school classic feel. The fact that they're recreating a WrestleFest style video game, complete with the NWA and whatnot. I will say that it seems like a lot of big talent in a little bitty small venue, and I also have to say Aaron Stevens should never ever wear flesh-colored tights.
Oh my god, yes. That should be banned in professional wrestling. He looked like a Ken doll.
Hey man, whatever floats their boat. But I will say, NWA
It looked like
Powerrr.
he had a boat, Kaliko.
I mean, hey, man, I can't tell a man what to wear. But what I will say is like, I ask Scooter this: do you feel like that Powerrr was like an easier and better flowing watch? Because to me, I feel like that show is like it's just simple to the point, no craziness, no crazy commercial breaks. They just go straight to wrestling, straight to the old school, no dives, none of all that crazy stuff. They're basically trying to tell like these stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was a lot more easier to digest. I mean, I can't say I'm too thrilled with how the Colt Cabana James Storm match ended.
Oh yeah, that was another thing because
That
I get
pin.
You would have to watch. You would have to watch like what happened because basically what was going on is James Storm and Colt Cabana teamed up to fight against was it Eli Drake and was it Eli Drake? I think it was Eli Drake.
And
Eli Drake
you have to reverse that.
So like basically the premise was that like if Magnus and Cabana won, James Storm gets the title shot, but the caveat is he gets the title shot at the behest of having to have his title defended against Colt Cabana. So it was kind of like just more stipulation based. So I get what they were doing with the way that the pin was because they want Storm to be a credible contender in the sense of trying to go for the big title. So,
But I mean, like Colt Cabana, it's like dove while his legs were in a precarious position and just dove on him.
Oh, you never
Like,
seen that before?
I've never seen that before
matches.
ever.
yeah, that's how he wins his matches. Superman pin, yeah.
And I've worked with Cabana. And I've never seen him do that.
Yeah, that's like his main gimmick now is that pin. That's how he wins matches.
It reminds me of, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, Jungle Jim Steele from 1993 WCW.
I mean, roughly. I mean, he's more of the comedy wrestling type. Speaking of, he's going to be wrestling here. He's going to be in LA on Veterans Day.
Yeah. And he's teaming with Yano.
With Yano, of all people. So,
yeah.
Right up his fucking alley.
And, like you said, it kind of felt like out of context that Colt won. Not saying that Colt isn't a good wrestler and all of that, but it kind of seemed like it came out of nowhere, considering what they've been doing with James Storm and Colt and Aldis. And what's Eli Drake getting out of all of this? Because you know that guy has a plan.
Well, it's to get rid of the ambiguity of a champion versus champion, because you got to remember with the old school rules, even if James Storm had a won, he would have had to take the national title. So, according to the NWA rules, so they're just kind of like keep that tradition alive to me.
And also on the show, Thunder Rosa, friend of the show, made her debut. And damn, did she get Alyssa Kay in that?
Allison.
Thank you. Allison Kay. Obviously building up a match in the future, maybe on paid preview.
I'm thinking the story's gonna be at this point more of the Marty versus Allison part because Allison and Marty kind of because they are best friends, and not only in the ring but in real life. So they're just going with that whole a friend of my friend is my enemy, and then the way Allison's been talking down to her, like you're not really ready, da 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 da. It's almost condescending to the point where it's like, fuck, I'll wrestle you. Fuck, let's get it. So I think something's gonna go down with Marty and AK before, it jumps off with Rosa. But Rosa's the instigator, so she's gonna be the benefactor in the end.
What I loved about the match was that they announced Thunder Rosa she's from a graveyard in Mexico.
I know, not TJ, just a graveyard Mexico.
Yeah. The
Random graveyards just popping off.
and Aaron Stevens will not disclose his weight.
Oh man, yeah, they breaking all the rules with that shit. Man, where you from? A graveyard. Okay, we just gonna write graveyard. Fuck it. Like, all right.
Yeah. Next week, Nick Aldis is gonna be from Disneyland.
I know. And Colt Cabana's gonna be from Pluto or Uranus or something like that. I feel like he's more of a Uranus guy.
He better come out from Uranus.
I'm the thing from Uranus.
Oh my god, that needs to be a thing. How has that not been a thing in wrestling? All things considering.
I mean, it's wrestling. Everything's a thing.
And I think that is a great way to end this segment. Our coverage of NWA. And now we are wrestling with the Survivor Series Watch Along poll. I believe you have results for us, Scooter?
Yes, I do. And we're going to go in order from least.
Wait, drum roll, please.
I am glad to say we got a total of 536 votes.
All right.
Spanning 322 different people.
All right. That's pretty good.
All right. With 19% of the vote, I'm glad to say every choice got over 100 votes. With 19% of the vote, 102 votes, Survivor Series 2018.
That's a lot higher than I thought. Exceeded expectations.
It's a win in your book, Kaliko.
It's a win. Yes, it's a win in my book.
With 24% of the vote, 128 votes, Survivor Series 2002.
Oh, damn it.
Now, what's left is, of course, 97 and 95. It was incredibly close, a 1% difference, literally by 6 votes. With 29% of the vote, the watch along will be Survivor Series 1995.
Wow! Upset.
Yeah. This was rigged. Scooter, you know people in Russia. You had them hack the poll.
Wow!
What are you talking about? I know nobody in this Russia you speak of.
Yeah, uh-huh.
He had the Koloffs come in that bitch.
I am simple American broadcaster who drinks vodka and eats caviar.
I want to see those results. I want to see the emails. I just find it a little convenient and that the guy that made the poll actually got the win, got the W.
I've got the results right in front of me.
I mean, the fact I got 100 tells you, like, hey, it's legit. If I got 100, you can't ain't shit to scoff at.
And,
It was six votes, literally 6 votes between 95 and 97.
and also, seriously, congratulations. I am excited to see 95. And
Yeah.
we will be covering that on Thanksgiving Day, whenever that is, the 28th, I believe.
Yeah.
Is it the 28th or the 21st this year?
It's the 28th.
Oh.
Always the fourth Thursday.
Yeah, but usually sometimes it's been really yep.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Well, that was our poll. We are excited to do it, and
We hope you liked looking at our poll.
exactly. That concludes this episode of Wrestling with Entertainment. You can like, subscribe, and comment on YouTube and Castbox. It takes a moment to hit that like button. Takes a moment to subscribe. If you want to leave us a comment, that'd be great. We love your comments, good or bad. And you could tell us what a great job or terrible job we're doing on Twitter as well. You can find me at JamesJ993. Where can they find Kalika?
At I am Kalika. Actually, I have something to. I've been thinking about this because my wife, like, she has like this thing where she doesn't like my wrestling collections. So I'm going to start, rather than selling, I could sell a couple of them, but I'm going to start doing a giveaway with quizzes, and it will start doing like some giveaways. I got like some stuff, like Slam Crate stuff. I got like. So I'm going to start doing that on my Twitter. Just start giving it away on behalf of the show.
I might have to partake in one of those as well. I mean, compete in.
Well, since you're part of the show, you are forbidden from competing.
Oh,
exactly.
As am I.
Damn it.
See?
And where can they find Scooter Dust?
They can find me on Twitter at ScooterDust and monitoring the UNB Wrestling Twitter at WWE on UNB. And as of this past Wednesday, you can now find the remix on Mixler and now also live streaming on YouTube.
Excuse me? Excuse me? Are you infringing on my podcasting network of YouTube?
I mean, YouTube's like the internet. It's everything. Everything's there.
I disagree. I own the rights to YouTube.
Excuse me, but my show is live.
Oh, so that gives you the right to do it?
Yes.
You don't see me on MLBW live streaming wrestling with entertainment.
Because that's not an actual platform. It's the name of the group. It's the name of the broadcasting company.
Well, you don't see me broadcasting with them.
This is taking a weird turn.
I love me some awkward silence.
He's like, get off my porch. That's basically what he's saying.
You know what? I'll come down. I'll come onto your porch. I'll kick the door in. I'll kiss your wife. I'll eat the food in your fridge, and then I'll take a dump in your toilet and not flush.
Dude, I live in California. We have when you enter my home, I could shoot you.
Flushing.
So once you get to the point of open the door, bang, goodbye, good night.
I'm in New York. One phone call, you disappear forever.
Ooh.
Hey, there you go. Why are everybody trying to be godfathers now? Where is this? This is really taking it on.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
It's like he was like a best friend to me. Who is this Gucci? This Gucci? I don't know Gucci. You know Gucci?
I'm there the day of my daughter's wedding.
That's what it sounded like to me.
And you could find Mitch Mayhem at at Mitch Mayhem X. He's on another Roppongi Bendo. Hopefully we could get him an AA before the next show to be on the show next week.
Oh yes, he's gonna just beat up on Vince some more.
Yep. For myself, James Shea, for my co-hosts, Kaliko Yachts, Scooter Dust, the memory of Mitch Mayhem, this has been Wrestling Wit. Entertainment.
Happy Veterans Day! Happy birthday, Marine Corps! Hoorah!